Welcome to Convergence Healing with Peter Bedard, where we empower you to heal your pain on every level of your being, body, mind, spirit. Our show is about sharing solutions for creating the life you want. We invite you to stand up and choose a life of health, happiness, and joy. And we're here to show you how. This is Convergence Healing.
Hey everybody, we are back. Welcome to the Convergence Healing with Peter Bedard show. I am Peter Bedard, and I am excited to share with you guys that this is episode number 54. Holy crap, that's super cool. I love it. And today we are celebrating with our guest, Greg Papania. Greg is a composer, a songwriter, and an author, and he does healing sound work. So Greg's pretty awesome. I met him through some friends of mine. You may have been with us on previous episodes where we interviewed and sat down with Dr. Mary Helen Hensley. She is our mutual friend, and how Greg and I actually were introduced to each other. So I'm excited to have Greg here in the studio and to share his intelligence, his wisdom with you all. So Mr. Papania.
Yes.
Before we go further into you, I always like to add a quote. And my quotes come from where I sit down and I sort of tune in my way to the person I'm going to be sitting down with in the interview. I sort of tune into their name, their energy, whatever, right? And I liked exactly, he's opening his arms wide, there we go. And I like to go online and surf through quotes. So I found a quote that felt like it resonated with my understanding of you. And this quote comes from Joachim-Ernst Berendt. Now, imagine saying that name. You think Papania is Berendt? I don't know. That's, yeah. Okay, so Mr. Papania, this is from Joachim. Joachim says, "At the root of all power and motion, there is music and rhythm, the play of patterned frequencies against the matrix of time. We know that every particle in the physical universe takes its characteristics from the pitch and pattern and overtones of its particular frequencies. It's singing. Before we make music, music makes us."
Mm-hmm. Well, I love that.
How do you like that?
I love that. That's
Awesome.
truth right there.
Yeah?
That's the secret to all existence.
So in my, sitting down and thinking about you, this is the quote that spoke to me.
I like how you think about me.
That's pretty cool, huh? Music makes us.
Yes.
I like that. Scientifically, I marveled at this concept that scientifically our bodies are vibrating at 12 octaves above middle C.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that neat? You already probably knew that.
Yeah, it's fascinating.
Well, whatever. Yeah. Here I am trying to be all smart.
No, please.
So all the cells and everything, moving through our bodies, electrical currents and all that type of stuff are vibrating at that octave that's so high we can't hear it.
Mm-hmm.
12 octaves above middle C.
Amazing.
It's kind of like a dog whistle, right? I
Right.
mean, it's that frequency that we hear in our brains, but we don't conceptualize in our minds. Isn't that interesting? So I always thought, well, maybe that's a way of understanding, like when somebody walks into the room and you have a feeling about them, maybe their frequency is sharp or flat, or maybe just it's off in some way.
Distorted.
And that's distorted. And that's why we have these feelings about people that we've never even met and we don't know logically, but we're actually hearing the sound of their frequency.
I love it.
And trends, I don't know.
Life's like an orchestra, right? So
right.
They come in, they're playing the wrong part for your song. They're dissonant.
Right? They're dissonant.
So we got to
Well, dissonance can be fun.
It could.
I like dissonance
in the right
sometimes.
way.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe they're playing a tuba and you need a trumpet.
Right.
And
a piccolo.
Yeah. And then they got to go.
Boy, you rhymed that one. That was good. You are the songwriter, right? The piccolo, they got to go. That could be your next rap.
It could be. Band name. Piccolo
Right.
gotta go.
Piccolo got to go.
Yeah. Hashtag.
Hashtag pick.
Pick.
Right.
Olo.
Olo.
They have YOLO. So.
YOLO. I like YOLO. That's awesome.
What's Olo?
So tell us about who Greg is. Or what brought you to this? I mean, I know you more as, I know you do your work and that you have won all kinds of awards and you're in this whole world of the music world, but
Right.
you're also in this world of frequency and sound.
Yeah.
And what brought you to that kind of work?
What brought me into like the science of frequency and vibration and healing tones and all that kind of stuff was my own personal research into everything esoteric. So many years ago, at least a decade ago or more, I got into just all types of esoteric research and philosophy and sacred geometry. And, I've always wondered, what are we doing here on this planet? What are we made of? How did we get here? What is going on in this matrix? And so through all that research, of course, came, really like the pinnacle of it all seems to be frequency and vibration, and that come up a lot in the research. And of course, then being a musician and a sound engineer, I got deep into that research and done some experimentation with it and talked to sound healers and all different types of people, and just the whole world opened up with it, and it feels right.
Right. So that feeling right experience, I identify with that because that's the experience that I like to say is home. That experience of just when something just feels right, it's like I'm at home. What was that like for you that first time that you had that home experience? Do you remember that?
Yeah, there's no. I'm very intuitive, and I feel things in my body. So for me, it's just it's excitement, and your body and my body. For me, and my body feels like it's singing. It's the energy is open and it's clean, and there's no when something's wrong. At least for me, in the body, I feel it right in the solar plexus area, and it's like getting punched. Basically, you kind of cringe. It's kind of ooh. Okay, that's not right. It's a little jab. So, for me, and then I just wanted more. I mean, I researched for years on a daily basis. I compiled tons of research in all aspects of everything, esoteric and everything with frequency and vibration. And I just find it so fascinating.
So what does frequency mean to you? Because I don't know if our listeners are going to understand that. What do you mean when you say frequency and vibration?
So it's, as being humans, we perceive that as sound, and sound is made up of frequencies, various frequencies, and in let's say layman terms, high frequencies, low frequencies, and maybe people may know it as treble and bass, and when you relate it to music. And essentially what makes up musical compositions is frequencies of treble and bass and mid-range, and they are vibrations as a scientific definition.
Right.
So
how do frequencies affect the body then, or why are frequencies important?
So since we are vibrational beings, like you said, we're vibrating 12 octaves above middle C, and also within that, our organs, each organ has its own resonant frequency, or its own home frequency, if you will. And even just like the Earth has its own frequency, 7.83, the Schumann resonance. So everything has a frequency, and it's like a big orchestra going on. So, that's when you're listening to certain types of music or certain types of sounds tuned in certain ways, just like anything, it does. It's like it doesn't all go together. It's like being friends with people. Like certain people mix and vibe, and some don't. So, but for this, it's sort of the rules of the universe. It's like, everything is composed of certain frequencies, and so there are particular frequencies that are harmonious with the earth and your body and your organs and your org field and everything that goes along with it.
Right. I love sound frequency or sound healing. I've experienced a couple different modalities that use sound healing, and one of the interesting ones was a scientific way that they were looking at excuse me, they were looking at sounds on the freeway. And they know that freeway noise is a frequency that causes stress. And so they're trying to, they're building sound walls
Right.
and they're doing all this type of stuff to lower, quote, noise pollution,
Sure.
right? And one of the ideas was to find the frequency of the freeway and then send a counter frequency towards the freeway itself that would
Nice.
then, for the human brain, would not hear anything because one frequency would cancel out the other
Right.
one, which I love
Yeah.
because the application of that in other ways, say in medicine,
Oh yeah.
if there's a tumor and that tumor is vibrating at a particular frequency, you could then send energy or the healing opposite frequency into that tumor
That's right.
and potentially create healing.
Correct.
Now there's tuning forks. That's one way of doing frequency work, right?
Yep.
Then there's what I've done a lot of work with myself is more indigenous, where I would go to a sound healer and they have these rooms that are amazing where they have gongs and crystal bowls and bell jars and anything, rattles. They have probably 200-300 different types of sound making machines, basically instruments in the space, and they play all of those chords to create an experience of wellness for the individual.
Right.
It's kind of like laying on top of a speaker.
Absolutely.
Right, where you
Sure.
if you ever gone to a nightclub and you sit on top of a speaker and you could feel
Yeah.
the sounds like in your body.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it.
And imagine if they were playing healing tones.
Right, exactly. Yeah, and that's what the experience is like. That's it.
Yeah.
That's exactly it. Where they're playing these healing tones,
Yeah.
and you're laying on top of
Yeah.
these instruments. One of the healers I actually went to, he had a massage table. That underneath the massage table, you would lay on his table, and underneath that table were chords. So it was like you were laying on a guitar.
Oh, okay. Yeah, like a
And then-
monochord.
Yeah, and then above were pipes.
Oh,
You know,
wow.
all the different, like a cascade of pipes going from really long ones to really short ones that were all tuned to a particular tone.
Amazing.
And he would play all of those
Yeah.
while you're lying in the instrument itself.
Yeah.
It was amazing. And then there's also like binaural beats,
Yep.
that type of idea, right?
Yep.
Tell us a little bit more about, because I think you've done a considerable amount of work with frequencies in the binaural type of,
Yeah.
or that way. Yeah, talk to us a little bit
Yeah,
about that.
I've played around with a lot of different things. There's the binaural frequency method, and then there's also the isochronic method.
What's the difference?
So some believe isochronic is better than binaural, and essentially it's the way that the frequencies are laid out, and so
Right.
they're pulsating in a certain way, and maybe pulsating in a certain way in a rhythm in one ear and in the other ear in a different way. And it's sort of like they may use the same actual frequency, but it's the way that they're delivering it to you, if you will.
So isochronic tones are, I think that's how they're referred to.
Yeah.
Though, isn't that a singular frequency?
They're usually singular, but then you create these soundscapes. So it could start at a particular frequency, and then it could rise up through another frequency, and then it could go back down, and it could sort of undulate. And it sort of depends, what you're using it for. Like if it's for sleep, or is it for focus, or is it for energy? Is it for anxiety, or sometimes they want to treat ADHD and ADD.
Yeah. And what's the difference between the isochronic tone and a binaural beat?
So that's just the way that it's simply in the way that it's delivered. So isochronic has a certain rhythmic pattern to it.
And it's like a tone that would go beep 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 beep.
Yeah,
beep,
it's like
or something
it's pulsating.
It's a pulsating.
Yeah,
uh-huh.
the woo, 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 woo,
Right,
woo.
right, right.
Well, that might do it in that fashion, and then the binaural might pulsate in a different fashion. And then it also has to do with one pulsating in a certain rhythm in one ear, and another same tone and a different pulsation of the same tone.
And that
in
would be
your
the
other ear.
binaural, right?
That's your binaural.
Like stereophonic, binaural. both,
Exactly.
Right? Got it.
Yeah.
Two.
And then with isochronic, there's something similar, but it's a different pulsations, because with your different types of pulsations, it's essentially brain entrainment and brain entertainment. So, yeah. So they've tested the different tones, and they're getting better results with the isochronic in the way that it's pulsating and how it's entraining and entertaining the mind for
yeah.
the desired result.
So isochronic is showing as more powerful than the binaural, is what you're saying?
Yeah, in some sides. But
Interesting.
and the thing is, the binaural is also very powerful.
Right, right.
So
I noticed that because I like to go on YouTube and I just do a search
Yeah.
for isochronic tones or binaural beats.
yeah.
And then I fill in the blank what I want, like whether I
Right.
want to feel more calm or meditative or
Totally.
sleep
Yeah.
or overall health or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And I'll just pick one of those tones and I'll
Yeah.
listen to them.
Right.
And I really like them, but I found that the binaural uh, sound patterns that are out there, they often lay those underneath like a drumming session, or they lay them underneath the rain, the sounds of the rain, or something of that sort. Where the isochronic tone is more pure, it's more of the tone, and it can get for me a little. It depends on the frequency,
Yeah.
but some frequencies I tend to be like, oh yeah, that's great, I can listen to that all day. Other frequencies I've noticed they get a little irritating
Sure.
at some point.
Yeah. Sure.
So when I do that, if I'm doing that particular frequency and listening to that frequency, if I do it as a binaural, then I don't get the irritation.
That's great. Yeah. It's like
I have no idea if that's common.
I think so. I mean, sometimes I listen to things, and it depends on the time of day or the mood too. I'll put something on, it's like, no, not right now.
Right.
Then another day, it's like, yes. So it's sort of like, what do you need right now? And
Right.
everyone's different. I mean, some days I listen to pure solfeggio tones, just
Oh god.
that might drive someone crazy.
Yeah, that drives me nuts. That constant sustained
Right.
tone.
Sometimes I do that, and then some days you hit play on that, and no, shut
I
that off
suppose,
immediately.
But the funny thing is, I can listen to a didgeridoo. There you go. I
yeah.
can listen to something like a didgeridoo.
Yeah.
Constant, no
Yeah,
problem.
sure.
Just that monotone.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can listen
Yeah,
to that
typically the lower
sound.
sounds. Are,
Yeah,
are sort of
no
more,
problem. But there's certain frequencies, especially if they're sustained, that just, oh my God, shut it off.
Yeah. Yep. For sure.
I was listening, we were in the car the other day and I was listening to, there was some rap music on, and I actually like rap music, but this one was more, it was like, I don't even know how to describe it. It wasn't American rap. It was a different kind of rap. And the drum beats were amazing on it, and I
Yeah.
really liked the drum beats, but
Yeah.
the guys that were rapping,
Yeah.
the frequency of their voices,
Yeah.
oh my God. I was like, oh, I just do
Yeah.
not like hearing these.
For sure.
But the drums, so the song, I wanted to listen to the song, but I didn't want to listen to it.
Yeah.
It was this kind of monotone kind of thing going
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that. Oh my God, it was driving me nuts. So it was funny how that quality, that tonal quality, was really creating an irritation. And I don't normally get irritated with music. I can listen to all different kinds of music.
You weren't vibrationally
I
compatible with it.
wasn't compatible with that
happens.
tone. Now, for people that may be unfamiliar with this type of thing, right?
Yeah.
I like to throw out the idea that we all know pop psychology, right? That classical music helps you study better,
Sure.
right? Everybody seems to know that.
Sure.
That's just common knowledge. That
Sure.
and why is that? Why do you think that is?
Well,
The
classical
frequencies.
music and other types of ambient music, even if it's written in 440 tuning, which is musical scale tuning is the standard nowadays. It's really in the mood of it. So it's what the chords and the melodies they're playing and the tempo is, all those parts are evoking this calm mood from that music.
Right, and it's a great way to understand how the music, the sounds, are affecting the brain.
Absolutely.
And that's what listening to these isochronic tones or these binaural beats or whatever, that's what they're all about, right?
Exactly. Yeah, and the big thing about with the particular tones, isochronic tones, which is a method of using a tone, and just like binaural is a method of tones. The actual tones are then brain tones, which are delta, theta, beta, alpha, and gamma tones. So that's like and you can solfeggio tones as well. Those are like your pure tones, and the delivery method is isochronic or binaural or pure state. And the thing about those is that, it's not just how they're entraining the brain, but they're also vibrating with our cells. And so these particular tones are also serving us biologically, in a healing method. Just like when you go to your sound healer, it's not just calming your brain down.
It's
but
affecting
it's
the whole
also
body.
getting into your cells of your body.
You said, what was it? You said gamma wave. I'm not familiar with gamma waves. I know theta, delta, theta, and all that type of stuff. But when we come back, let's talk about what that means. And when you say entrainment, I'm not sure if people listening are going to understand that. So
Sure.
We'll be right back, everybody. Stay tuned. Hey everybody, thanks so much for tuning in. If you're interested, check out convergencehealingteas.com. You can try all of these yummy, delicious teas that are actually crafted in my home kitchen to help you feel better. We have a Sleep Well blend, a No More Anxiety blend, and all of those ingredients in there are designed to help you feel better through the traditional qualities that Mother Nature has to offer. Check it out. All right. Hello, my people, my people. We are back. I have the awesome Greg, and everybody says he has people that's difficult pronouncing his name. Papania. Why? I don't understand why Papania is difficult. Papania.
Some
Papania.
Some things are difficult for everyone.
I do understand the association with papaya.
I would love does anyone have one?
Greg Papaya?
I would love a papaya.
Papania.
Yeah,
it's kind of like tomato.
Yeah. That's great.
Right.
Pineapple.
We're
just fruit. That's all we are. We're just vibrational fruit.
Vibrational fruit. Yeah. That's awesome. So you had said something before our break in which you said delta and theta brainwave patterns, and I totally understand that. But I don't understand, I know gamma waves. I don't know gamma brainwave patterns. Talk to us. What does that mean? I'm going to have a little sip of my Breathe Easy tea while you tell us that.
Yeah. So gamma is a very heightened state, and I'm not sure if it actually is in the brain inherently. You'll have to excuse my knowledge there, but I know it as to being very high frequencies.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe that gamma may connect with your 12 octaves above middle C of our vibration
Interesting.
that is not audible, but there is gamma once you get down the scale a bit that is audible, but they're very high frequencies.
Right, so they're out of our conceptual range.
Some of it in the range, and then some of the stuff you will listen to obviously would be in the range because you want to be able to hear it.
Interesting. And you had mentioned brain entrainment. What does that mean to entrain your brain?
Yeah, so it's like it's what it is, entrainment, training. So it's like, going to the gym and lifting weights,
So sound can train your brain?
Exactly.
In what way?
In the way of, it's like repetition. It's like if you go to the gym 5 days a week and you do the particular workout schedule, then your muscles are going to develop and you're going to get more flexible, et cetera, whatever it is you're working on. And it's the same thing with the brain. If you're, whatever your ailment may be or whatever it is that you would like to maybe better about your existence and then dealing with your brain. And let's say it's, cutting stress and being more meditative and more relaxed yet alert.
Mm-hmm.
You can, by using the tones, you can you can most easily put yourself in that state.
Mm-hmm.
And then your body and your spirit can understand what that feels like.
So entrainment can almost be substituted for the word habituate.
I mean, in a sense.
You can make the brain have a habituated pattern due to a sound.
Sure. Yeah. Just like anything. It's like if someone who's used to being negative and used to complaining, and then they just more of that and more of that. But then, someone who's used to being, an optimist, and then it's like more of that. Or someone who's changing sides, like I'm sure we've all done, and going from negative to positive, or sometimes we're going positive to negative. but you try to bring more of that into your life, and then
so conditioning.
it's conditioning.
Got
Exactly.
it. Okay.
Yeah.
And it's healthy conditioning.
Absolutely.
I like that. That's
Yeah.
awesome. So, excuse me. So, there's this idea that sound is the basis of everything in existence. And philosophy talks about that too, right? The voice said, let there be light, or whatever it is, depending what spiritual tradition you come from.
Yeah.
But it generally starts with thought and voice.
Yeah.
And I wonder how that plays into sound, like the influence of sound in creation.
Well, that's because, again, at the core of everything is frequency and vibration. That's sort of the way I look at it, is what's playing out here, at least in this reality, is like it's like the video game. It's like looking at your computer or at your Xbox, and okay, you see this desktop in front of you, and these folders and these icons, or this guy running around in a world, right? But what's behind that is source code. Is gazillions of hours and pages of source code, right? And that's kind of how I see life and existence. Behind this three-dimensional world is the source code, and the source code is the frequency and vibration.
So if you're looking, let's say something's going on in your life and you want to heal it or change it, what's one of the first things you do?
Ooh. Depends.
Do you go to sound? Do you go to frequency?
That's been something it's a daily practice for me. So it's part of my meditation practice, at least once a day, sometimes more, depending on the day. And the headphones go on, and I pick, one of my tones for what I feel I need on that particular day. Sometimes it's a mantra I've recorded over top of a tone. There's different ways you can get creative with these things. And that will help, no matter what's going on. It will help bring you back to center and a perspective and also into a calm state, so you can then deal with whatever it is that may be going on.
Right.
From the most harrowing experience to something so minute that you're making it difficult, because that we do that as humans. It's innate.
So do you go to a tone and you put on your headphones, so the sound is doing something to you? Do you use yourself as the instrument and to create the sound as well?
I do that as well. I play instruments and I sing. So singing is fantastic. You could sing, if you want to sing mantra in Sanskrit and get all into that, or if you want to sing pop tunes or whatever it is, or just even ohms and chanting. What singing does, it resonates your entire body. You are the instrument, and in that, if you want to get into healing, then it's which I guess that's what we're here for. When you're singing particular tones, like Om, one of the simplest that many people know on this planet, is one of the most powerful in realigning your energy field and your cells. It's one of the mother frequencies. So you could sit there and you could chant Om for 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, and I've done that.
Yeah. I've done that, and it actually feels really
powerful.
good. I like to try and I a little bit about me, but one of the things I do a lot of is I mimic sounds, or I mimic accents or particular voice patterns or stuff like that. I love to do that. When I meet somebody that has an unusual voice, or there was a guy who was on the radio that was for Free Speech Radio News, and his name was Randy Zimmerman, and I loved Randy's voice. Randy, if you ever hear this, you're awesome, dude. His voice is very specific, and it's very high-pitched, and it's very nasal, and I used to do that. Ready? You listening? I would say, Randy Zimmerman, this is Randy Zimmerman reporting for Free Speech Radio News. And he had that kind of voice, and I love that voice. It reminded me of like the 1940s broadcaster or something.
For sure.
That, Randy Zimmerman. I love that. It was awesome. But at one point, because I was always goofing off with different vocal qualities or sounds or stuff like that, I just started imitating I can't even say it again. Didgeridoo. That deep kind of doing that kind of thing. And I would do that for periods of time, and I would actually notice that I felt better by goofing off. Like it was just this playing of seeing what I could sort of come out of my voice, what kind of sound could I match that quality of the instrument. And it was really fun.
Yeah.
It felt good.
Yeah.
It was silly, but it felt super good.
And that's part of it too, being fun and silly.
Yeah, I agree. That's one of the most magical elements of ingredients of healing.
Yeah.
So on that, we're going to take another quick little break, and we'll be right back with your 3 tips. Boom. Hey everybody, thanks so much for tuning in. If you're interested, check out convergencehealingteas.com. You can try all of these yummy, delicious teas that are actually crafted in my home kitchen to help you feel better. We have a Sleep Well blend, a No More Anxiety blend, and all of those ingredients in there are designed to help you feel better through the traditional qualities that Mother Nature has to offer. Check it out. Okay, hey everybody, we're back. Thank you for tuning in, and I'm so happy to share my guest with you, Greg Papania. Oh my God, I just tripped on your name. Papania.
See.
I was thinking papaya.
See.
Well, papaya was funny. Yeah, have my name. Have my first name and then run around.
I like your name.
Yeah, well, I like my name too.
I see it on the book, and I'm like, he's
Boom,
got a name.
boom, I
I'm
have a
home in my
name.
studio thinking that, like, why didn't I get that name? He's got the name.
Yeah, well, Peter is, you could peter out. I hate that. Oh my God, you have no idea how much I hate that when people use that, right?
People say that to you?
Oh my God, no, yeah.
That's bananas.
They'll say things, so Peter, how's your Peter? You know, hey, all that, come on. You know, you have a name like Peter.
I didn't think of that.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I do
well,
that
thank
kind of
you.
stuff. But
Yeah,
I'm like,
well,
why am I
all
going to
right.
say that?
Oh, yeah. It's so crass.
That's lowbrow.
It's
They
lowbrow.
gotta have better jokes. Who are these people?
Right. So you got nothing on me, really. Papania is no problem. Have Peter and then have my last name, which
How if
everybody
you were Peter
mispronounces.
Papania?
Peter Papania, that would be good. That would be like Sally picked a seashell. I can't even say that.
Totally.
Sally Seashell.
Yeah.
Okay, Greg. So we're talking about sound, and we're talking about in training the brain and bringing healing to the brain and the power of sound frequencies and all that type of stuff, and how you use it personally in your own life, which I love. I think that sound is one of the healing components that is overlooked, and I think sound therapy is just starting to, with the success of people getting sound baths. And if people aren't familiar with that, that's when you go into a space and people generally have percussion instruments. I've seen them done or heard them done with guitars and string instruments, but it's mostly done with some sort of gongs and percussion drums.
Gongs, crystal bowls
Crystal
are wonderful.
bowls,
Yeah.
exactly that type of stuff. The Integratron, right, out in the
Mhm.
desert,
Yep.
that type of stuff. Really fun.
Yep.
And that you bring that practice into your own personal life.
Absolutely.
Right, awesome. So give us your tips. What do you got going there?
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
My three healing tips.
Yeah.
You know, like anything that you want to see success at, you must do it. I want to say every day, but I could say nearly every day.
Okay.
It must be a consistent practice, and that's why things say like, I'm gonna go practice yoga. It's a practice. It's sort of like playing an instrument. You don't play once a week. You play every day. So just like with healing and trying to bring harmony to your body and to your life, you can bring in this practice of sound healing, which couldn't be through chanting, singing, and listening to isochronic or binaural tones or solfeggio tones, and meditating, and factor that into your daily routine.
Right.
And it's cumulative.
Yeah. It's fun.
Yeah.
It has such a good calming kind of effect.
Absolutely.
That when I do it, it's like I just got a boost.
Totally.
So how do you like to get the majority of your tones? Do you have tuning forks, or do you go to, like, I go to YouTube?
Yeah, for me, I've purchased them on iTunes, and there's other websites out there where you can. There's such an array.
Cool.
And I find them, and typically I buy them. I've gotten others off YouTube and extracted them, but these people putting them up on YouTube, they are doing that from their heart, and they're making them for free. They're like, please download this.
Yeah, they want
and
you
listen
to.
to it.
Yeah, yeah.
So so YouTube is fantastic. There's a lot on there, and then then I put them on my iPod or whatever your MP3 device is, and get a good pair of headphones. They go over your ears.
Right.
It's
Good
much
recommendation.
more much more effective. And you don't have to spend a lot of money, but you can spend $50 to $100, and it's a great investment, and they're comfortable. And I like to sit out. I like to sit in my backyard, and the sun is rising. It rises right on you, and you're listening to your tones. You're meditating. It's like your own sacred space that you're creating.
That's nice, and you're combining different types of practices. So there's a meditative practice with a sound practice that's in there. That's great. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I'm all about combination, so I think that's wonderful.
Totally.
So what's tip number 2? What do you got for us?
Tip 2. Well, I'm gonna say that we are an instrument when it comes down to it, and you can look at that through singing and chanting, but also your mind is a very powerful instrument. So your thoughts are creating frequency and vibration. And so trying to think, more positively and seeing the light in any situation will help reprogram you. And also it's sending these, when you have a positive thought, when you see the light in things, or when you're flourishing, or when you're feeling good at doing things you love and surrounded by people who love you, that is sending vibrations through your entire body that comes right from the brain. So the brain is one of the ultimate instruments. So, my tip is that second tip is to work with trying to think more positively and work with seeing the light in things, and, sort of shoo away those negative thoughts or those complaints, that especially if it's day-to-day life things that are, really infinitesimal in our whole existence.
Yeah, my whole saying is it is what it is. It is what it is, and I can just let it go. It is what it is.
It is what it is.
All right, and what do you got for tip number 3?
3. 3, I have, understanding no matter what happens, even if it's death, you're going to be okay.
I think that's hilarious. Because you're right. You are going to be okay. That your soul is always taking care of it.
You're going to be all right.
But that does seem a little funny.
It's funny, but it's funny, but it's true once you understand the space. Right?
Yeah.
Which I know you do. And actually have a yoga teacher who does a lot of sound healing as well, kirtan. Her name's Adriana Rizzolo. She probably doesn't even know I'm saying this, but she's fantastic. And she said one time in a class, she's like, how wonderful, you die into love.
Oh, you die into love.
She said, you die into love. And and I've already been on that whole tip, and I went, and I just looked at her, I was like, yeah.
Yeah, you do.
I was like, yeah.
Yeah, I say that my death experience was the most loving experience I've ever had. So, yeah.
There you go.
Do die
and
into
that, at its essence, is a frequency.
Yeah.
It's a vibration. The vibe was good.
Yeah, the vibe was
the vibe
good,
was
but
great when you died.
There was a vibration. I mean, being
Right.
on the other side, there's a vibration in that space, and it feels so amazing.
Yep.
And, oh my gosh, that vibration is just.
I've never felt joy like it.
Oh, wow, yeah. That's just incredible. I mean, just thinking about it, I can go back to some of that experience.
How wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much. I
Yeah,
so
thank
appreciate
you.
having you on the show.
It's fantastic.
It's super, super cool to get to know you a little bit more. And since we have so many mutual friends in common.
Yes.
And to watch your work. I love that. And
Thank you.
please tell you said your dad read the book?
Oh, Convergence Healing.
Yeah, my little book.
Oh, yeah. My dad
Yeah.
read it, loved it.
Thank you.
He's going to come see you
I love that. That'll
this
be
month,
fun.
so we'll talk about your schedule.
Very cool.
Yeah, he felt for someone who's not on the whole, in the whole spiritual realm like we are, but he has understanding. And he's fairly open-minded, but he felt like it was very relatable.
Good.
So I think I know you've written a book that is, I feel, relatable to really anyone who's maybe not like, oh, that's some hippie woo-woo stuff. But you've transcended that, and you've bridged these worlds. So
Well, thank you.
well
I
done.
really appreciate
Yeah.
That's good feedback, and that's how I wanted the book to be received. That it
Yeah.
was not that's just woo woo stuff
And you
that
did it.
isn't applicable. So
Yeah.
you can actually do it here and now. So thank you.
Yeah.
I love the feedback.
Yeah.
And I look forward to meeting your father. That's
Yes.
awesome. And to everybody else who is listening, thank you again for another episode of Convergence Healing. It's exciting to have you guys tuned in with us. Again, thank you from the bottom of my heart, because you are helping me bring my message and my purpose into the world of bringing wellness. And this show brings wellness. Greg, thank you for bringing wellness into the world. And you can connect with me directly if you like on Facebook at Convergence Healing, or on Instagram at Convergence Healing, or on Twitter at Peter Bedard. I'm right there for you guys. I would love to hear from you. Thank you. Make it a beautiful day. Have some joyous life, and we'll be back. Boom, boom.
Bye.